The Hexblade is the patch 8 Warlock subclass that has been added to Baldur's Gate, so let's go over it level by level with a combat tutorial and all the items you could ever need, and of course we start with the Warlock. This will give you your Wisdom saving throw proficiencies, Charisma saving throw proficiency because Charisma is our spellcasting modifier. We gain Simple Weapon proficiency, Light Armour proficiency. Now, we get to pick our cantrips and of course we're taking Eldritch Blast. No Warlock is complete without this. We're also going to take Booming Blade. I personally really like this. Strike your foe, afflicting your foe with a resonance that hurts them for 1 to 8 thunder damage when they move. And of course the Hexblade. Now the Hexblade will give us a whole bunch of new proficiencies. So we gain medium armor, shields and martial weapon proficiencies with this. We also gain Bind Hexed Weapon, which means we can use our Charisma modifier instead of our Strength or Dexterity when attacking with weapons we're proficient with, as you can see here. What it also gives us is Hexblade's Curse. So curse the target, your damage rolls against the target gain a bonus equal to proficiency bonus. The number you need to roll a critical hit while attacking the target is also reduced by 1, and if the target dies, we regain 4 hit points. We gain 2 spells at this point, so of course we're going to take Hex as our first one, and I do like Shield early level. Obviously you're not going to want to waste your limited spell slots on Shield late game, but early game, if you're not respecing, this is great. Now when it comes to your ability points, we are going to have 8 strength, we're going to have 16 dexterity to help with our AC, 14 constitution, 10 intelligence, 10 wisdom, 16 charisma as this is our spellcasting modifier. Future skill proficiencies, take whatever you feel like. Warlock level 2 brings another Warlock spell slot and 2 passives. We gain more spells at this point, so I would personally take the Armour of Agathis, so we can gain some temporary hit points and deal damage to enemies that hit us. And a Hellish Rebuke, again another reactionary spell, but it's pretty decent damage. And then for your Eldritch Invocations, there's Agonizing Blast, so when you cast Eldritch Blast, add your Charisma modifier to the damage it deals, unless it's negative, and Repelling Blast. When you hit a creature with Eldritch Blast, you can push the creature up to 4.5 meters away from you. Warlock level 3 brings improved Warlock spells. We gain another passive as well. Now for a spell here we are going to take Hold Person. It's probably the best spell at this point that you can, well, that will naturally upscale anyway, because Warlocks cast all their spells at the highest level. And then for your Pact Boon, we are still going to take Pact of the Blade. Now obviously we get a lot of these features from being a Hexblade, but this does give us an extra attack, and I think that is the most important part. Especially with our reduced crit numbers, I think it's just worth it. Warlock level 4 brings your first feat. Now we gain another cantrip, so for this one, we're going to take Toll the Dead. Ring the Bell of Impending Doom. If the target is at full health, you deal 1 to 8 necrotic damage instead. I think this is a great cantrip. We gain one more spell, so for this one, let's take Darkness, because this can be very helpful. And then for your feat, you probably guessed it, we're going to bump that Charisma up to 18. Warlock level 5 brings our Deepened Pact, and this is what I'm talking about. Pact holders gain an extra attack, so I still just think it's worth taking it. We gain another spell, so for this one we are going to take the Hunger of Hadar, one of my favourite spells in the game. Creatures in this black sphere are blinded and take damage at the start and end of their turn if they are within it, the first being cold and the first being acid. Now we gain another Eldritch Invocation, so let's take Devil's Sight. You can see normally in darkness both magical and non-magical to a distance of 24 meters. Warlock level 6, Accursed Spire. So when you are an ally within 18 meters, slay a creature that is inflicted with Hexblade's Curse. Don't forget this is also the thing that reduces your crit number. You can raise an Accursed Spectre that will fight alongside you for a short period of time. We gain one more spell, so for this one we are going to take Branding Smite. Warlock level 7 brings another passive, so we gain one more spell at this point, and we're just going to take Staggering Smite. And then for an Eldritch Invocation, I quite like the Book of Secrets, but there's also Fiendish Vigor. Choice is yours. I do think Fiendish Vigor is just a little bit better. Warlock level 8 brings another feat. Now before that we gain one more spell, and for this one we are going to take Phantasmal Killer. And then for your feat, you probably guessed it, but Charisma all the way to 20. Warlock level 9 gives us another passive and more spells. So for this one we're going to take Cone of Cold, probably the best spell at this point. For a spell here, we're going to take Dreadful Word for Confusion because it can be pretty helpful. There's not many others at this point that I would choose over it. Warlock level 10 brings the Armour of Hexes. So when a creature you curse with Hexblade's Curse attacks you, potentially nullify the attack as a reaction. This has a 50% chance of succeeding. We had another cantrip, so for this one we're going to take Minor Illusion to have that utility on the battlefield. And for a spell, the obvious answer, Banishing Smite. Warlock level 11, a spell slot gain, and a Mystic Arcanum, and for me, I think Circle of Death is the best option. The only problem is it is a insanely big AoE. So bear that in mind, it's very easy to do Friendly Fire, but I do think it's the best one. And then for a spell here, we are going to take Hold Monster in case we need that. Warlock level 12 brings your final feat of the game and another spell. For this one, I would kind of just take whatever. There's not really that many options you could need. Dominate Beast can be okay, Blight can be okay. Choice is really yours. I'm just going to take Rail of Enfeeblement. And then Life Drinker is the Eldritch Invocation to take here. Attacks made with your weapon deal necrotic damage equal to your Charisma modifier, so we're just going to gain an extra solid 5 damage. And then for your feat, Alert, +5 to Initiative, and we cannot be surprised. Okay, when it comes to equipment, we're going to take Savrok's Horned Helmet. You gain Dark Vision up to a range of 3 meters or 15 if you already have it. More importantly, the number you need to roll a critical hit while attacking is reduced by 1. So this will stack alongside your Hexblade Curse. We also cannot be frightened or afflicted with emotion-altering conditions, and a Constitution saving throw +1. For a cloak, we're going to take the Cloak of Displacement. You could also take the Cloak of Protection. I just like the idea of having disadvantage on us for attack rolls from characters. For boots, the boots of Genial Striding, so unimpeded by difficult terrain. The Armour of Agility, so we get exotic materials. Because we can use medium armour, this will allow us to add our full Dexterity modifier to our AC. We also gain saving throw +2. For gloves, the Helldust Gloves, +1 bonus to spell attack rolls and spell save DC, and our weapon attacks do an additional 1 to 6 fire damage. For a ring, the Snowburst Ring, because we have got some cold spells, this is a nice way of creating ice around enemies. The Caustic Band, so we gain additional 2 acid damage. The Strange Tendril Amulet, because I love Edvar's Black Tentacles. This and the Hunger of Adar are 2 of my favourite spells in the game. I cannot preach about them enough. And then for weapons, we are actually dual wielding. Now in your main hand, have whatever dagger you like. I personally am taking the Murderous Cut. This weapon will do an additional 1 to 4 piercing damage upon targets with 50% of their hit points or fewer. And in my offhand, Bloodthirst. This will decrease your critical number. So between our helmet and our dagger, we now need an 18. Throw in Hexblade's Curse, it's now a 17. We gain True Strike Riposte, and because it's in our offhand, we gain a +1 to our armor class. Now the first thing to do after you have taken your long rest is make sure you bind your hexed weapons, like this. The other thing you want to do, so if you unequipped the hexed weapon in your main hand, and then you come in here and you bind hexed weapon, like that, what you will be able to do is still remove them from yourself like this, but if we then equip them, like so, you will see you can only have 1 bound weapon at a time, which is what I really like, having the Bloodthirst being in the offhand because it's bound, and then you can still have your first dagger as your main one. So just make sure you remember that. So again, as you can see, I've just bound it. If we come in here, our Murderous Cut is our hexed weapon, and our Bloodthirst is just a bound weapon. Okay, you can see we are in combat and we're top of the turn order alongside our rogue, so let's start doing some stuff. We can use our bonus action to do our Hexblade's Curse, and we'll throw it on this enemy here. Just like that. This lasts for 10 turns. And very simply, we're going to show off some of our attacks, as we miss with our first one. And then you see we hit with our second one for 26 damage. And there you go, you can see the increasing amount of damage we can pump out with that. And with our reaction, we actually hit with our main hand and our offhand. And you can see 2 big misses from the enemy as well. Okay, so as you can see, our Hexblade's Curse has ended, but it still means we have Hex. So we can throw our Hex on our enemy here. We'll do Dexterity, now concentrate on it. We can still pump out some really high damage with our 2 attacks per round. And you see the enemy has Hexblade's Curse on them. And again, another big miss. And because they're going to hit us, we can actually do a shield with our spell and protect ourselves. Much like that, shield has remained because it was our reaction. And we still have the ability, we could come in here and we could do our main hand attack. And you'll see we finished the enemy off like that. That still leaves us one attack available. So for example, we could do a Booming Blade on this enemy. And you'll see the huge crit we managed to land. And there's just so much good stuff we can do with this. And again, we can shield up. Now don't forget, you do only have 3 spell slots, so use them very wisely. You'll see we are totally out of spell slots, but that's okay, because we still have things like our Fiendish Vigor. We still have our Mystic Arcanum. So we could throw this up here on the enemy here. We are going to take an attack of opportunity, but that's okay because of our Cloak of Displacement. So we come up here. We'll turn on our Mystic Arcanum for a Circle of Death. Now you'll see we did lose our Hex because it is just a demonstration, but we dealt damage to them and to this enemy here. And what's really cool is that we still have the ability, we can come in here with our offhand and still make a stab. But of course, what would a Warlock be without Eldritch Blast? So we could target the enemy here. Let's try and actually move to the edge. From the high ground, we could, when I can see it, Eldritch Blast. And you'll see once again we did another big crit because they had the Hexblade Curse. We can get our Accursed Spectre just like this. Now this thing will control itself and work on its own, but it means we still have our bonus action available to land another big crit. And as you can see, another Spectre has come here. So this thing will follow you around. And it really is this simple. It's just about pumping out as much damage as possible with your actions. Unfortunately we missed 2 times with our main hand somehow. And there's the Spectre to do its thing, siphoning life from the enemy. And like I said, it really is that easy. We're just going to run in. And there you go. Hexblade Curse did its thing again. And if we have the movement, which I don't believe we do, we can start closing down the enemy. But you'll see just how easy it is for us to land these crits. Now unfortunately Booming Blade also has to be melee, but you would still have these options. Now as you can see, we are hunting down this enemy here. We don't quite have the movement to get to it, but that's okay because once again we could throw out our Eldritch Blast. And you'll see we can pump out some really high damage with this, thanks to our Charisma. Obviously if the enemy was closer we could offhand, we could flourish, but we don't have the movement. And again, we can just throw out more Eldritch Blast and another big crit. You can see we also had temporary hit points on our Spectre, and this thing will continue fighting with us as long as you attack enemies. So overall, this is just a really fun subclass. You can really build up that crit damage, especially if you're like a fighter as well who's in there. You can just pump out so much decent stuff with this. Again, you do have to be careful with your spell slots, but things such as your Booming Blade are just basic attacks, so you can really sort of like pick and choose where you go from this. Just try and avoid things such as like counterspell, stuff like that, because you will burn through them so quick. But that is the Hexblade build for patch 8. Let me know what you think of it below. Let me know what you think about the patch 8 subclasses in general. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. I've got more guides to Baldur's Gate, Dragon Age, Path of Exile, all the RPGs you could ever need. And hopefully, I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.